All right, well, we're going to go and visit the destination that all of us have visited a lot of times in Singapore. We're traveling overseas to Sentosa, right? So we have a panel on Sentosa. Please welcome Chin Sak-hin, Assistant Chief Executive and Chief Financial Officer of Sentosa Development Corporation. We have Alex Ward, General Manager from Madame Tussauds, Singapore. We have Andrew Ng, Chief Operating Officer of the Lo and Behold Group. And we have Gavin Weightman, General Manager, Shangri-La's Rasa Sentosa Resort and Spa. Yes, just take a seat. Hi, guys. Thank you. Thank you for traveling across the border to meet us here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's a long way. It's a long way away.
You got your passport. Yeah, you know, like with KP, I have visited Sentosa more often in the last 3 months than I have in the last 15 years that I've lived here. So, so let's start with Sak-hin. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no, I mean, thank you for supporting us, actually. So give us an idea, I think, you know, for the audience, that what was the size of the domestic market versus international market to Sentosa pre-COVID, so that we have some context here. Yeah.
I think we have built a kind of a solid foundation of visitorship to Sentosa over the years. So pre-COVID, we would be receiving 19 million visitors a year. And out of that, about 25% are locals. So I think it has been obviously done with partners like, you know, I have here today, our island partners. We have built, I think, a myriad of offerings on the island, from hotels, F&B to attractions. That I think, and plus the beaches that we have, and I think that has really drawn visitors to the island.
Okay, so 25% were locals out of the 19 million. Do you have another, is there another slide after this? Yeah, okay, so today?
Well, today, obviously, circuit breaker was a different story. But I think today, happily, one of the few places you can go overseas, right, during this period. Since the end of circuit breaker with phase 2, we have seen very healthy growth in our visitorship. 65% year-on-year growth compared to the same month last year, July and August. So those, I think, really is a reflection of you know, what you can get on the island. Like yourself, Hoon, you haven't been there for what, 20 years, and you've been back there 3 times.
Yeah.
We hope to see. We hope to see more people coming back. And I think we were just chatting before this, right? And I think the offerings that we have, and being agile and offering new kind of
right,
different themes and different twists to what we have. I think that has brought back.
Yeah, and I guess that 45 million domestic tourism campaign that you launched with the Singapore Tourism, I mean, that's helped. Okay, now let's go to Gavin, and what did you have to do to sort of adapt to a domestic world?
Yeah,
completely.
I think we were quite unique. There was always going to be opportunity for us, as we're the only beach resort in the country. So there was it was just a matter of understanding what the market wanted going forward, creating a concept and an idea that worked within the guidelines of the phase 2 and opening back up into Singapore and having people come back out again. So we sat with the team and we looked at what our core attributes were, and palm trees, the pool, the service that Shangri-La is renowned for. So we created a daycation package, which was a little bit different for us. We tagged it as Paradise in a Day.
Okay.
And we launched that in early July. We've been extremely fortunate. It's been sold out since. 2 weeks ago, we just launched our October sales for it, and the weekend sold out within 6 hours. So the people that have been rediscovering Sentosa Island and what it has to offer has been tremendous.
Day stays, okay,
Yes.
and they can rent the beach beds. And,
yeah, they come at 10 a.m. and they leave by 6 p.m. and have a comfortable sleep in their own bed at home.
Okay.
So
Daycations.
Yeah, daycations.
Okay.
Refining that, we've also launched a weekend dinner package now as well, so you can come and enjoy the sunset and then have a barbecue platter by the pool in the evening as well.
Okay, well, I'm there.
We'll see
So
you there
Andrew,
soon.
then we go to Andrew. Lo and behold, I mean, you guys run a range of hospitality business. The Warehouse Hotel, I love the popiah there, by the way. And you run the Tanjung Beach Club in Sentosa. So you have more on your plate, right? And all have been impacted differently. What's the smartest thing you've done to survive this storm?
Okay, so I'll say internally, we've just improved communication with our team across the whole group. I think being a company with multi-unit locations, being able to be more transparent and being more, building more trust with our people and having those monthly Zoom town halls, something that we could never do before, right? Because we have so many locations. I think it was always about getting our people to be more motivated and to be positive. And so, because they're the ones that create the experiences for our guests. So when they're feeling good and happy, then it makes everything flow through from there. Yeah.
Okay, so kind of regroup as a group. So specifically with Sentosa, though, I don't think you have any problems attracting people to the Tanjung Beach Club, right? Because it's so popular with locals, whether
yes.
whether it's COVID or not COVID, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I mean, the first weekend when phase 2 reopened, it was challenging. Actually, no, the first weekend was all right. It rained a bit, so we weren't so bad. The second weekend was challenging. And so what we decided to do was we actually barricaded the whole of Tanjung Beach Club and created one single point of entry so that we could control the numbers. And so basically everyone had to have a seat or a day bed. They had to be getting into somewhere. And people thought, wow, you're reducing your capacity. I said, well, actually, we've been able to give better service because we've had less people to deal with, less chaotic, right? And so our revenue has been still pretty good on weekends. Weekdays has been really interesting because people working from home, no pay leave. So you have people, on the day beds and the weekdays, and suddenly their alarm goes off, and you see them taking a shirt out, and opening up the laptop, putting their shirt on, and doing a Zoom meeting. But instead of a fake Sentosa beach scene, it's the real one. So yeah, it's been great. I mean,
so instead of remote work, it's resort work.
Yeah, and it's been fantastic. And as a result of that, we've actually opened earlier on weekdays now, and we close a little bit later, and we're quite full. We have actually even done things like for our day beds, we do you need to put down your credit card details so that you can confirm the day bed. Okay. So that if you cancel, then without.
So that's an interesting trend that's actually happening worldwide. Whether it's Japan or whatever, it's called the workations, right? People just looking for places to work from, and the beach club is one, and probably your hotel. Let's go to you as an attraction. I mean, must be tough, right? I mean, you opened in 2014. What was its domestic and international mix before, so we can understand what a big pivot you had to make?
Yeah. So for a second there, I thought you were going to ask me about workations at Madame Tussauds. Come and sit next to the wax figures.
I don't mind.
But so as you said, we were heavily reliant on tourists, and I mean that's not unusual for most of the businesses on Sentosa. And in fact, the Madame Tussauds brand as a whole, wherever you're located in the world, it's a tourist brand. So up to 90% actually of our visitors pre-COVID were international. So for that to drop off a cliff in a matter of weeks, obviously required some pretty agile action to turn it around.
Let's ask the audience, how many of you have been to Madame Tussauds in Sentosa? Okay, how many of you have been to the Tanjung Beach Club? Clear.
You need some sand.
I need more beach. You need more
bikinis.
Clearly you need to couple up or something. Oh dear. So when I go online now and I Google your attraction, I mean, I see discounts being offered almost all channels. Is pricing now the main tool that you have to get locals back to your attraction?
Yeah, I mean, certainly initially when the demand drops off like that, you need to kind of hit the button and get that local demand somehow. And for us, it's also about creating a kind of a critical level of awareness within Singapore. I mean, as your quick sample just showed, not a lot of people in Singapore have actually been to us. A lot of locals don't even know we're there. So we really needed to shout as loud as we could, as quickly as we could. And the best way to do that was price. But, we recognized pretty early on that that's not sustainable, especially if with an unknown, length of the COVID situation. So we knew that we had to stop competing on price and then start to compete on product a little bit more. So very early on, we started developing virtual tour, which I think many attractions are pivoting towards. We run that now with our images of Singapore.
attraction, which is a history tour, and it's had good success so far with schools, particularly. Obviously, they have their own restrictions on not being allowed out to group events, so a virtual form of learning is very useful. And the other thing that we want to start competing with is kind of a behind-the-scenes type tour. Again, we can't accommodate so many people with social distancing and whatnot, so to create a more premium type of product, we can do a behind-the-scenes tour. And everybody always asks me, when they hear I'm from Tussauds, they say, oh, so you make the wax figures? Which I'm definitely not talented enough to do. Next thing they ask is, oh, how are they made? So this is our tour. It's a chance for people to understand the wax figures and actually try themselves.
Sort of giving more dimension to the product.
Exactly.
Right?
And then we stop telling people that, come to us for cheaper. We say, come to us because we have this. If you don't like that, we have this. If you don't like that, we have this.
But Singapore is such a, you got to face it, it's such a small domestic market, right? And and we had a speaker from Taiwan the other day, and she was saying that because I think Taiwan, they make about 18 million outbound trips a year. And so all these people also can't go overseas. So now they're all traveling domestically, and they are actually absolutely struggling with over-tourism on weekends, right? So do you think in Singapore, we can convert that entire outbound, we all travel so much, to a domestic market? I mean, what percentage? You are a chief financial officer, Sahil. Yes. Give me a number. What percentage of the outbound market of Singapore can we convert to a domestic market?
Well, I won't be so brave as to try and venture a number here, but I think certainly, I think Singaporeans like to travel, and I think with this, like KP Ho talk about imprisonment for the past 6 months, I think people want to go out, and I think Sentosa has quite often been kind of almost forgotten because it's just here, and when we travel, we go overseas. And I think now Sentosa offers the opportunity for Singaporeans, for all local residents to really get an overseas holiday.
So are you getting overcrowding on weekends?
Well, I'm looking at Andrew. Well, I won't. We have very healthy crowds. So we do have to be mindful about safe management measures.
Exactly. So do you, Andrew or Alex, do you implement capacity management time-based solutions for your attraction or your club?
Well, we even hired a team of safety ambassadors because we realized that we needed to have people who are in a different uniform just to tell guests to, stop talking to each other, put your mask back on. When you get to the toilet, put your mask on, and because people, they're in that social environment, within their friends, and they need to be reminded. So I think it's important. But as much as we're trying to manage all that, I wish customers were a little bit more cooperative and everything, and some are pretty good and others are not.
Right.
But,
So it's really time for Sentosa to rise to the challenge, right? Because you guys are probably the only destination we have for the next, I don't know, what do you think, guys? 9 months? So what are you gonna do to make it possible for us to vent our travel, frustration? Like, what are you doing differently on this island? How are you convincing me that there's more to Sentosa than meets the eye? Let's go to you.
Well, I think we need to work more together. I think as a community, as a kind of an island economy, and we are doing more of that. So if you look at the Singapore Recovers program that we are rolling out, or we have actually rolled out, we are doing more bundling, cross-bundling of product, and coming up with theme kind of holidays. We have a tea tailoring kind of a product that we just going to launch, where you can learn how to blend tea, but at the end we also bundle it with a tour to the Southern Islands. So 2 overseas trips by coming to Sentosa, right? And then what we want to do is really cross-bundle hotels with F&B, with attractions.
So what are you planning to do with those Southern Islands? Do you wish now that you guys had developed the Southern Islands much earlier so that we would have more places to go?
Well, I think Southern Islands is fine as it is. I think the more rustic, more kind of undeveloped. I think when people want to go away now, in particular now, right, you probably want to go to a place that's a bit more rustic and different from the cityscape that we all see.
Okay. So one of the conversations that I had with Taiwan, because they were trying to manage this over tourism, right, and only on weekends, was people coming out with higher quality experiences, and we're seeing that actually with the domestic tourism campaign. But the other thing was actually kind of evening out the work week, right, so that not everybody just go on weekends. So how do it's almost like a social engineering that we have to do and get companies to basically say, well, it's not Monday to Friday. Some of you work, Friday to Monday. Have you talked at the government level about that kind of social?
No, not that I'm aware of. We have not.
Okay. Do you think it's a good
No,
idea?
we certainly think it's a good idea. I think as with any kind of a resort or leisure destination, you always get a bunching in the weekends. So if we can even it out in some ways by social engineering, by changing policies on work, I think that would certainly
especially
be
if we are
wonderful.
going to be in this for quite a while, right?
I think we see a little bit of that normalization as well across, say, the school holiday periods. The local school holidays, the international school holidays, they don't coincide with each other. So there is some rationalization across the world.
Okay, so I hear that there's also a Sentosa travel bubble being developed. So for the mice business, am I right to say that? Yeah. Especially, mice is really huge for Sentosa. So tell us about this Sentosa travel bubble that you're trying to build.
Shall I take that?
You.
Okay. I think as we start to move forward with mice, as we see here tonight, actually, it's a great opportunity for me to come and have a look at what a hybrid event is. Because we need to look at how we adapt to the future. The mice business, not just to Shangri-La, Rasa, Sentosa, but also to Sentosa as a whole, and that partnership that we have with each of the attractions, the food and beverage establishments, it's vital to us to thrive. And I think what we'll start to see on Sentosa is that we've got unique venues and spaces available. Can't capture here in the city. It's not confined to four walls and a ceiling. It's that fresh air, the outdoor. You're under the natural sunlight. So there is a safety aspect to being outside instead of being inside as well. And I think that's going to be a really important, unique point of difference for us going forward.
Are you planning to build a hybrid broadcast studio like this in your
I'm
hotel?
impressed. To see what you've put here this week, it's really impressive.
Okay, so now let's talk about the biggest lesson, right? I mean, this has been such a big shock to all of us. So Andrew, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned through this?
How to manage customers that don't want to behave themselves. I mean, that's been the biggest challenge, and it's amazing. I mean, not just at Tanjung Beach Club, but across all my venues, and it's just people, they haven't seen each other for a while. They get together, they're gonna let go, and suddenly you have to stop them, and then you can't be too rude to them. But then if you're not forceful enough, they will just ignore you. So it's that balancing act and trying to keep everyone safe, but also not killing the mood. So
actually, it's a good problem. At least you have customers. Some places have no customers. Alex, what's the biggest lesson you've learned through this?
I think that the biggest thing it's shown me is that basically this power of collaboration, I would say. I mean, it doesn't matter who it is, whether it's obviously with Sentosa, some of our competitors on Sentosa themselves, other attractions, travel agents, even team building companies. Obviously everyone's struggling at the moment. Resources are bare. So you pull what you can together, and I think we've been able to. That's helped us be agile and develop things that we wouldn't have been able to otherwise. And so I think continuing that sort of collaboration will help position Sentosa as a better location in the future.
Okay, so one word answer, right? Sakhin, because now we got to think about Sentosa as an economy, right? What's the one mindset that has to change, you think?
I think it's a kind of a more win-win kind of thinking among the whole community, and we are doing that. I think this situation actually forces us to do that, and I think that's a good start for us.
What about for you, Andrew?
Not just for tourists.
Okay, and Gavin, what is the one opportunity ahead for Sentosa?
Synergies across all the product that we have. It's extremely varied, and I think working together, we're going to be able to position ourselves and show Singaporeans what they've been missing out on over recent years.
Okay, what have we been missing out?
Oh, you're going to have to come and find out.
And Alex, what is one opportunity ahead for Sentosa?
I think it's Singaporeans. I think when the tourists come back, I mean, now Singaporeans, they're all coming, they're all finding out what's here. So even the tourists
So
come
it's
back,
actually
that's
a
what they
good
say.
time, isn't it? It's a good time to
Yeah.
really build local love, right?
Exactly.
Okay,
Right.
so what is the most misunderstood thing about Sentosa, Sakhin?
It's far away.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing now.
Yeah.
It's a good thing now. You can go far away in Singapore.
I know. Oh, I have to go across that bridge. Okay. Andrew, what is the most misunderstood thing about Sentosa?
That you can only go there on weekends. Come on weekdays.
All right. Okay. So, Gavin, what do you want Sentosa to look like in 2025? Like that?
That looks pretty impressive. I think a fun, vibrant, thriving tourism hub.
Okay. Alex, what do you want Sentosa to look like in 2025?
Connected.
Okay. Sakhin, what do you want Singapore to look like in 2025?
After this long winter, we energized.
And Andrew, what do you want Singapore to look like in 2025?
Wow. I think one thing that COVID that's been a positive thing is I think everyone's more generous and more kind to each other. I hope that continues for a longer period.
Right. So, guys, we all have to go and visit Sentosa, right? All right. So, thank you very much for joining
you.
us. It's wonderful to see
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Sakhin. And thank you, Gavin.